Hello guys, and just a quick little message I want to elaborate on, and I want to address the elephant in the anime YouTube community, or the anime community in general, and that is Yuri on Ice and its fans. I want to try and make this video as least condescending and as least bitchy and just savage as possible, because I want to sort of give my opinion while at the same time not completely going off on people who have nothing to do with this whole Zealot destruction fest. But the people who do, I understand that there are a significant number of Yuri on Ice fans who are perfectly fine. They are best people you'd ever meet. They are nice, they are kind, they just love Yuri on Ice for its plot, the beautiful canon BL romance that isn't a rape or a full-on porn, you know, like most of these are, and that's perfectly fine with me. I'm perfectly accepting of that, and I personally think it's pretty refreshing for the most part, if that's what you're looking for in this anime. Now, in regards to those people that I don't know if you can call it a minority, but it's definitely a percentage of fans who are literally just using this anime to further attack and further perpetuate buzzwords and just completely dismiss and continue being special little snowflakes. I'm finally making this video in response to what recently happened to the anime man, and basically him giving his simple opinion on how he perceived the show. His one opinion. One opinion that had to do strictly with the show's content. Nothing about any sort of lifestyle of the fans, lifestyle of the author, or even just poking at the sexuality in general. This was strictly a commentary on a recurring theme that is seen in sports anime, and how it is plainly and blatantly thrown in there, just a little extra step further of saying, yeah, finally admitting to the fact that it is what it is. Now, I personally believe that Yuri on Ice, in some universe of my mind, is one of the best anime out there. It's not. But I do believe it is a decent anime. I made a video on this back when it was around the middle of the season, and I wanted to clear up some misconceptions with people calling Yuri on Ice a yaoi. It wasn't. It really wasn't. Even the creator vehemently denied that it had anything to do with the sort of boys love culture in Japan. It wasn't shonen ai, it wasn't a yaoi. She wanted nothing to do with it, but still was ready to take that Fujoshi money when merchandising comes along and those Blu-ray sales release. Yeah. Haha. Well. But I personally saw it more as a shonen ai, and I actually kind of broke down how it pretty much replicates the shonen ai formula. That being said, I don't understand why, because this is what many fans believe to be one of the first, I use the term loosely, first BL anime to hit mainstream, notoriety and portray a same-sex, particularly gay male couple in the light that isn't abusive or rapey or, cringy and things like that. And apparently it's supposed to be a revolution. I can understand the revolution in regards to being one of the first anime to portray ice skating, a more underrated sport. And I understand that ice skating in general, many of the male athletes in particular, are gay as well, and some are straight, some are bi. There's sexuality isn't really a huge issue in the ice skating, community. You be who you want, you be as flamboyant as you want. There's not really a restriction, as far as I know. And I understand how a lot of the ice skaters, they were really excited about it. But I don't think it was because of the relationship between Victor and Yuri and all of these other ships that were going on. It just seemed to me like this anime in particular was more of a shipper's wet dream. It was something that shippers will love, but there is something for those people who just like sports anime and they're like, oh, well, here's another one, And it's the same thing with other sports anime like Days and All Out and things like that. It's fan service, fujoshi baiting, bromance tipping, you know? It's giving you that sort of bait to please female fans. And a lot of anime companies are doing this because they realize that female fans are buying merch and buying Blu-ray disc more than males. Like, there are stats on this. I can link them in the description down below. This is a great thing, I guess, for the fujoshi slash female otaku community, but I personally, it stops for me when you get things like what's recently been happening with the Anime Man. Calling people homophobic because they've given a review on an anime that you love to death. Love it. And they say something that you don't want to hear or you don't find to be in your taste or supporting your anime. And that just kind of brings us back to the whole your anime is shit sort of scenario. And this irritates me because this didn't just start now. It's not like, oh my gosh, they've done something bad. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. Which a few people say that is the first time they're hearing about it, but this has been a reoccurring thing since the anime has been in circulation. This has been going on and it's very annoying, and I'm getting to the point where I feel like I gotta say something about it. Conveniently enough, it's a time when a bigger YouTuber is getting more flack, and I feel like I have to say my piece on it because it's very irritating, and I don't want this to be a thing every single time the season rehashes, because it's gonna get season 2. It's gonna get a season 2. The first season popularity was too great. They even left it off at the end where they would imply that there's a continuing season going on. Not sure if it'll retain the same hype as the first season did, but it's gonna get a season 2. I just don't believe that these fans need to go around policing people and telling them that if you don't like Yuri on Ice, you're this, you're X, you're Y, you're Z. Just as the same way, I don't really feel like haters should be like, you're all just a bunch of stupid fujoshis and you're just this and you're that and all you want is everything to be gay. I've heard that time and time again. That's a thing for another video. That's based on horrible fujoshis who over-excel at everything, and they were those back in the early days who would say that, oh my gosh, if you don't like yaoi, you're a homophobe. Get out of my face. Like, no. I hate those kind of fujoshis. They irritate me, which is one of the reasons why I was not in the fujoshi community for a long time. Like, I was to myself and I was doing my own thing and had like a few friends who were into it, and that was about it. I just recently started re-emerging into the limelight, and boy, did I pick the time to come back. I personally think that this is idiotic, it's dumb, it's stupid, that these fans are going out of their way to use this show to hide behind a angry, obsessive, almost cult-like profession to a cartoon. And I say that with any fandom, but this is really pertaining particularly to Yuri on Ice. From the whole debate of, oh, is it a yaoi, is it a shonen ai, what do we call it? You know, and then going down to when the season finale of Yuri on Ice had its course, it ended, Crunchyroll wasn't airing it anymore, and then when those fans, I believe someone from the Yuri on Ice group decided to share Killing Stalking and was like, this is some good shit. And everyone was like, let's look at this shit. And they went over and they literally just kind of converted over there for the time being because people are allowed to like different stuff, and Yuri on Ice fans flipped out. The self-proclaimed prevailers who claimed this anime to be the stamp of approval for queer, gay, love acceptance, you know, they were like, this manhwa is bad. This is not a good manhwa. And of course I've made a video on that debunking all of that. I can link it in the description if you want, whatever. That's not the point. In any case, they hate anything that goes against Yuri on Ice's principles. And I've said this before, I don't honestly believe that Yuri on Ice is one of the first BL genres of current last few years that have broken out and given a beautiful or a amazing representation. It's okay. It's very cliche. I would compare Yuri on Ice's romance plot to be more so of Asami and Korra, a little more believable than Asami and Korra from Legend of Korra, but overall it's not that great. and it's literally a formulation of any past shonen ai anime, just the creator is denying it this time, and we get that. Number 6 had a little bit better romance to it than this. It's not that great, and people kind of just stumbled over this one anime that came out a little bit before Yuri on Ice, a few months before Dokusei, and people, they stopped. It's much better in my opinion for Yuri on Ice. Most people who've seen Yuri on Ice have seen Dokusei, but they kind of scratch over it because the hype isn't as big, which is kind of fun for me because I like obscure titles and I don't like when fans take it over because they destroy it. But this case, I would really recommend people who think Yuri on Ice is the best BL based anime to please check out Dokusei, because it's based on the manga that was made 10 years prior, and it's a very good anime and manga, and it shows a much more beautiful sense. The animation is brilliant, and this deals with like a music class sort of setting, so it kind of still has that aesthetic that Yuri on Ice has. But back to the whole fandom, yeah, you're gonna need to stop. Now back to the fandom in and of itself, I feel like it gets to the point where you're kind of just irritated all the time. I've spoken out about how I'm critical of the Yuri on Ice fandom and how they raise it up. They raise this anime up to the highest expectations that it really isn't. They're just obsessed with what it is at the point that they're blind. It's like Star Wars fans, and no shade at Star Wars or Star Wars fans, but it's like the newest Star Wars film, was it Rogue One, I believe? Rogue One. Everyone was hyped about it. They were, this is the best, this is gonna be the best, you know, this is gonna be it, this is it. If you said anything, any sort of criticism about it, and right when it came out, I believe it was in December when it came out, Christmas, and everyone was hyping on it. They were like, yes, this is the best one ever, this is the best. And I'm just like, okay. Everyone was so hyped about it when it first came out, and then a couple months later when it was about to hit DVD, you started seeing people saying it wasn't that great. And then the people who they crucified for saying it wasn't that great when it first aired, they're like, I told you so. So you finally admit it. And I think Yuri on Ice is gonna end up being like that, because Yuri on Ice, in truth, it's okay. It's okay. It's not great, it's not horrible, it's okay. It's mediocre. The animation was brilliant for the first 3 episodes, and then it tanked. It tanked in animation. You could tell. You don't really have to be someone who's a major in animation or anything to notice that the animation style did tank, all the way from the thing that it was known for, the skate scenes. They were beginning to look more choppy, more rushed, a little bit, the frame rates were very, very low quality, and then you saw the background characters being more mesh, little clay glumps like that Toei animation I'm suffering from doing these One Piece episodes for years, sort of torture in the background, and it was not that great. It wasn't. But apparently the fans stick by what they stick by, and you have to be able to see the flaws in what you like. That goes with anything. If you are like a public figure, if you like a group, food, whatever, you have to be able to see the pros and the cons, and a lot of these fans cannot see the cons. While some people who may criticize this anime may do it a little harsher than some other people, you're gonna have to get over it, because at the end of the day, it's a cartoon and anybody can say what they want. I don't agree with these people going out and they hear something that they don't want to hear, like, oh, Yuri on Ice isn't the best? You're a homophobe, you're transphobe, or whatever these isms and buzzwords they want to just go around calling people, and it's not right. And the fact that your favorite BL revolutionary anime is no different than its predecessor of 16 years prior, Gravitation, it's really not that different, and it's not revolutionary. It's the same plot line. The scenes are a little bit better, I guess because the animation is better, but there's no real complexity, there's no challenge. It's categorized as a sports anime, so the baseline level of their emotions has to kind of loop back to their sort of sport that they're playing, or the focal point of like the genre, but it's not really complex. And I was kind of hoping with Yuri on Ice they might make this into a more complex thing, but it's not. It's pretty cut and dry, cliche, and boring to a lot of people. And then there's the whole fiasco with it winning Best Animation at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, it winning Best Everything, and that was based on fan voting. Hey, people who don't really like Yuri on Ice can't be mad at that. That's based on fan voting. Hype always wins when it comes to fan voting. That's why Adele and Beyonce pretty much win the Grammys every year. Despite your favorite musician who really showed themselves will never get the recognition they deserve. That's why pop songs and R&B-ish sort of rap gets into the Grammys more than rock and alternative, if you're someone who's a fan of that. It's all based on popularity and what is being hyped up the most. It's just kind of how it is. And I feel like Crunchyroll should have had a better system, or at least should have not kind of clickbaited the hell out of fans or people who wanted to join this Crunchyroll Awards. They should have been like the People's Choice Awards hosted by Crunchyroll, you know, something like that, and you know what would win. But when people were the most upset was when Yuri on Ice won Best Animation, and like I explained earlier in the video, the animation was mediocre at best. It was not all the hype, and people wanted things like Mob Psycho, Drifters, some other anime that were really good up there to win, and it didn't. I'm one of those people who wanted Mob Psycho to win because Mob Psycho's animation was on point, it was top tier, and Yuri on Ice was just winning because of hype. And fans were like, well, it's because it's a good series. No, you just got enough people to vote on your bandwagon. That's kind of how it works. Whether or not that really dictates to how good the quality is, you still got your win. And they pretty much dominated the voting sphere. There was only like a handful of like other votes that came to it. But then it's the snarky attitude and sort of defensiveness that fans get afterwards, which is understandable at first, and then it becomes anytime somebody says something about Yuri on Ice, it's you're homophobic, you hate it, I don't hate gays, but sort of narrative. They're looking to bait someone and say you're homophobic. I can personally let stuff like the petty little typecasting and calling other fujoshis certain names because they may like a more controversial and realistic genre of literature than you do, but telling people who don't even like engage in the circle and they simply said, hey, Yuri on Ice wasn't that great, I personally thought it wasn't that great, is nowhere near homophobia. Saying that, I'm kind of tired of fan service and baiting in sports anime is not saying you're homophobic at all. I'm a fujoshi. I am an advocate for LGBT rights. I am someone who enjoys things like this, and I'm tired of it. And I even came just as hard on Keijo, and a lot of people, they shamed Keijo more than they're talking about Yuri on Ice. Like, people don't even like Keijo. Like, they believe it's degeneracy. It's not a double standard, and it's not trying to attack the gay community. It's not. It's really not. I can assure you it's not. Of course, there will always be that little handful of people who probably will try and use it and hide behind it, just like some Yuri on Ice fans are hiding behind this anime, trying to use it to yell buzzwords at people and try to ruin people, such as our said anime man. But it's dumb. And I feel like, personally, I don't feel like Joey should have had to apologize. I feel like it was dumb. It was very dumb. I just don't feel like the anime man should have had to apologize to an entire community based on the handful of people who got triggered over a review, an opinion piece. Do they not realize what your channel is about? Like, really? It just seems like a bunch of special snowflakes latching on to cartoon, and they're gonna try and use it and milk it, and they're gonna try and band together and get stronger. And if people don't speak out about how ridiculous this is, I feel like it's gonna be another Steven Universe fandom, and something's gonna happen where somebody is gonna get just triggered enough to try and start a witch hunt or a chain reaction on somebody, and shit's gonna hit the fan. And then everyone's gonna be like, well, not all Yuri on Ice fans, and then you'd be like, but where were you when people were getting attacked? Well, you're crazies. We don't own those people. It concerns me, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like when things and titles I'm into, aside from One Piece or something like that, gets popular, because it always brings trash. The lowest of the low degenerates just decide to flock and use it and warp it and destroy it. And they're currently doing that with another title I love. Long live the king. But in short, to sum up my video, obviously there are amazing Yuri on Ice fans who are not complete assholes and are probably even calling out the asshole Yuri on Ice fan. But those who are, listen here. Come, I talk to you. I talk to you. Listen. Listen. Get the fuck out of your feelings. Get the fuck out of your feelings. Nobody cares about what you like or what you don't like and how it triggers you. Stop trying to call people homophobes because you are triggered over an opinion. You can simply not look at the video, dislike whatever, but don't start throwing around buzzwords, because not only is it dumb and childish, it completely invalidates real homophobia that exists in an actual scale of the real world. Somebody not liking your Fujoshi-bait anime is not homophobia. That just means it's not their taste, and they particularly don't like stuff being pushed. Even a lot of YOI fans and LGBTQ people are not in for it. And it's like, chill out. You like it, some people don't. Agree to disagree. I do hope you got a little something out of this video. I'm very opinionated, but I try to soften my words, because if I'm not careful, I will go on a full-on rant and everyone will think I hate them. But I'm just very opinionated. I tried. But with that being said, guys, I hope you found this video to be informative, entertaining. If you found that this was pretty much what you wanted to think about the Yuri on Ice fandom, let me know in the comments. I'll give it a like, share it with your friends. Long story short, I agree with Anime Man. Don't think it's a huge issue. If you don't agree, that's perfectly fine, but don't go using buzzwords on people just because you feel insecure about your favorite anime. That's like if I told you you were an idiot or a fucking moron because you didn't like One Piece. Think about that. That's how you sound. That's literally how you sound. If you think that's childish and immature, then what you're doing, it's just as dumb as calling people homophobes for their opinions.